Hello and welcome to my final project and evaluation of my call light personnel. My name is Holly Mora. I'm from Grand Canyon University for nursing class 674 and leadership in healthcare. The site on hand which I did my project is called Kindred Hospital. They house 61 long-term care hospital beds. They receive rehab services, long-term acute care for intensive care patients. The staffing ratio is about 5 to 6 patients to 1 RN, and even 3 patients with 1 RN in the ICU. They have 2 CNAs on each med-surg floor, 21 patients on each med-surg floor, 6 patients in the ICU, so that adds up about to be 48 patients total for a total of 14 to 15 staff members. Most or all of the time, they only have a budget for 46 patients. They offer long-term acute care or intensive care services. They have advanced wound care recovery, major recovery, post-trauma care, and so on. These patients also receive 24 physician oversight from an interdisciplinary comprehensive team of specialists such as pulmonology, infectious disease, nephrology, and even neurology. This specific hospital is one of a kind in its area due to its intense care that everyone receives and the position that they are put in when they are no longer in need of an acute care hospital. When I decided to do my needs assessment, it mainly runs on patient experience. Success stories and their patient satisfaction is their #1 goal. For this hospital, it has a very specific personnel who works with the patients to increase their positive experience. This patient advocacy personnel really helped a lot with me by collecting all the paperwork from all the patient complaints, what is being taught for any potential admission case for any new patient or family member wanting to take a tour. They're also being collected as well. For future reference, I also followed the patient advocacy personnel to just get a glimpse on what she does to do with my implementation. For me, this kept tabs on what the patients are on high alert for and what they mostly use the call light system for. During this time, it only took me a few days to gather what the patients mostly asked for, what the biggest reason the nursing staff delayed in for delivering, what the patients needed, and what the patient complaints were for. Also, during this time, I found out that a person from the administrative team is to round on all the new patients twice a week to make sure that their care is being done in a rightful manner. One of the specific questions asked is how fast is your call light getting answered? I found this question to be very, very specific to my implementation, so I followed this along as well. When I noticed the common thing about all patients was that they were already being hospitalized for 2 months prior, their dramatic start to their care had already passed, and the main focus was to get them back to their original state. The needs assessment didn't take long due to the hospital staff always being lectured about it. Since patient satisfaction is one of the main goals for any hospital, the main focus of my project was to see how one person can change and increase it. Due to the staff having such a high patient load with such high acuity, this is one of the main issues which was brought to my attention and my observation. Patients who come to this hospital are relearning how to walk and gain their strength. Their body almost deteriorating from laying in bed for a long period of time. Patient satisfaction is considered the heart of quality care and an essential component of successful healthcare business, according to Dower, 2024. Education on what was to be done on the floor was an important task to complete. The staff were so in tune to answering the call lights whenever they were able that they were almost on autopilot. By simply telling them one person will be answering the call lights for them gave them such relief. For example, when told this, one staffer even stated, I may be able to get all my patients up to the chair today instead of half. This only tells you how busy this hospital can get. It is known that 68% of satisfied patients considered recommending their healthcare providers to their known ones who need treatment in healthcare, also according to Dower 2024. While on the other hand, patients who aren't satisfied can spread their word and cause a ripple effect, causing them to leave bad reviews and lower their business. The main goal for the project was to increase patient satisfaction. What comes along with it by changing the rhythm of what the floor staff are used to is what may take the longest. For example, currently, when a patient pushes their call light, a light comes on outside of their room along with their ringing bell at the nurse's station. This, in return, alerts the staff the patient needs something. In reality, a CNA or nurse or any healthcare personnel who's walking in the hallway can see what they may need and turn it off, then alerting the correct person of what they may need. This process may take less than 5 minutes, but at this facility, due to its such high acuity, it was seen it took the staff more than 5 minutes to answer the call light. The average call light was being answered in 7 minutes. After realizing how long it was taking, I took it a step further and had a different scenario in my mind. What if a patient had a hard time breathing? What if the patient had fallen? What if a family member was concerned about their loved one not looking the same? 7 minutes is a long time for a patient to be without oxygen. Yet, it was not the staff's fault it was taking them so long because their duties or tasks for the day were very overwhelming for them. Due to another person taking away a task of the staff, one of the goals, which may be in turn out, was to increase staff morale. Currently, the morale in the hospital is very low and the stress is very high. Everyone has their own goals, their own mindsets on what they need to get done during their day, and no one has the time to simply sit and talk just amongst each other just about their life. The staff need to be happy in the work they are doing. They have their licenses for a good reason and take pride in what they do. From a project outcome, it did not take very long to complete and see the results. The longer it was to be implemented, the higher satisfaction ratings the hospital will see. Just in a matter of only 4 weeks, the administrative team heard about more success stories than not. Every morning when they have their meeting, they go around doing patient rounds, they talk about each patient. Success stories are being addressed. The staff in the room presents whatever success story they may have of a patient, and it was nice to hear the ones being said about the current staff on the floor being attentive to their needs only after I implemented my project. When making their rounds on the patients, they were hearing more and more how much the staff had helped them and how great they were. The outcomes seemed to have a rise in positivity, and this is exactly what the patient needs to get better. Well, not only the patients, but the staff as well. As you can see from this pie graph, week 1 is in light green and beginning stages of the implementation. Patient satisfaction was not a total loss, but there was some room for improvement. As the weeks went on, patient satisfaction scores based off being positive increased. The main stakeholders at hand were the patients themselves. They are the ones who are going through the lack of incentive or call out answering. It was initially received as someone specific is going to answer a call light, then pass on a message to whoever may be able to assist them. It seemed the patients were getting all of their needs and the call light was being used less. The perception of the patients who were interviewed in the midst of the project really liked the new personnel coming and answering the call light. They felt safer and the fact that someone was coming right away or in a quicker time than beforehand. Now, as far as it being sustainable, there may not be a proper budget, or else it won't be. Only way it can be sustained is most likely be volunteer work, and all I can say is budget, budget, budget. While the nursing staff on the floor are already shorthanded, it would be hard for this specific hospital to implement a completely new budget while adding one more person that doesn't account for the staff. Even though the patient census varies and the patient census on the nursing staff considers coincide together, it would be almost impossible for this hospital to sustain this. Even with a one-time implementation, it would make a difference, but it still wouldn't be sustainable and wouldn't last long. Only helpful thing to let everyone know is that they may need help. One thing this hospital could do is change their call light system to a brand new system or make it up to date. This hospital is very outdated and the call light system is losing its functionality depending on what room you are. So this could be part of the handoff and the next steps this hospital may take. The goals was to increase patient satisfaction, see an uptick in positive patient surveys, and a possible outcome was to increase staff morale, which is not my intention. What I didn't know would be for that, due to them having one less thing to worry about. They were able to focus on what they needed to do for their patients and make sure that they were safe. The patient surveys that were coming back slowly but surely, more and more, were coming back positive. That was an unexpected outcome. With the AOLN competencies, one of my main goals was to provide staff with the tools and resources so they can provide the utmost competent care that they could. Most of the staff that I had interviews with about this implementation made them feel like they were doing was not worth it. But when they had no staff and were constantly busy, they felt like they were just going through the flow, not really having a drive or desire to do their best care, and they were really getting severely burnt out. Another competency that I found interesting with the AOLN is ensuring the voice of the patient is central and present in their decision making. Due to there being a person frequently checking on the call lights and to take time to where they're getting what they're needing, the patients themselves were ensuring that they were getting what they needed at that time while also advocating for themselves. Coaching the staff and their development and making sure that they understood what the implementation was for helped the development of this project. It was easy for them to drop one task off their shoulder and give it solely to one person. But as the time went on, I found myself repeatedly coaching them to say this wouldn't be an all-day, everyday type of thing, due to their lack of budget in making a permanent position for this, letting the staff know that this would not last very long, but just to take it with a grain of salt and just to see how it goes. Biggest thing that I learned was budget. Budget move is harder than what it looks. I also learned that patient positive referrals or surveys are everything for the hospital. Each hospital has their own budget of their own, and if something new, such as this, comes about and is deemed a must, there has to be some cuts in a different area, whether it be from the nursing floor, another department, or just adding it in, but it also needs to get approved by the administrative team on the corporate side. I also learned each patient has a need of their own, which is, it could be pain, medication, cleaning, area watch, IV antibiotics, a different meal they're liking, and a lot more. We as professional nurses and staff are here to help the patients and get them what they need due to them not being able to. I also learned during this time there were education opportunities for the patients to get their own care or needs whenever able. We as nurses are patient advocating for their own care to help them get better and not shut them down whenever it gets busy. The staff's boost in morale was a major plus. That's another thing that I also learned. At this facility, with its high demands and care being given may seem half exceeded and not caring. With one simple thing being alleviated, it helped the staff accomplish more with their patients than they ever thought. Patients were getting bathed, they were putting in the chair, along with more education and learning. I love the saying, if the nurses are happy, so will the patients.